Stop turning your compost. This Amish layering trick breaks it down twice as fast. Most gardeners think speed composting is all about turning. The more you toss it, the faster it breaks down, right? That's what everyone says. But here's the shocker. Constant flipping might actually slow your compost down. That sour smell, the sluggish decay, that pile that just sits there for weeks, it's not because you didn't turn enough. It's because you missed what the Amish mastered generations ago. Compost isn't built by muscle. It's built by balance. For centuries, Amish gardeners have produced dark, crumbly compost faster than most modern methods, without fancy gadgets or endless turning. Their secret? A simple, powerful layering system that feeds microbes exactly what they need. Once you understand this, your compost will practically cook itself. Let's break it down. Turning your pile helps, sure, but only to a point. Oxygen keeps microbes alive, but oxygen alone doesn't drive speed. Composting is really about the chemistry between carbon and nitrogen, moisture levels and microbial life. Without those in harmony, no amount of turning will save your pile. If you've ever ended up with a heap that smells like rotten eggs or turns dry and lifeless, that's a sign the balance is off. The Amish learned long ago that compost is a living ecosystem, not a mechanical process. Their method focuses on feeding that ecosystem the right mix. So the microbes do the heavy lifting while you sit back and watch it steam. Why layering beats turning every time? You know, the Amish don't waste energy turning compost every few days. Instead, they build it right the first time. Their secret weapon is strategic layering, placing materials in a structure that allows air, moisture and microbes to circulate naturally. Think of it as building a cake for microbes. Each layer serves a purpose, creating the perfect environment for decomposition from top to bottom. It's not guesswork, it's science tuned by experience. When done right, your compost self-heats, self-aerates and matures in just a few weeks instead of months. Step 1. The foundation that breathes. Every fast-decomposing pile starts with a strong base. The Amish begin with about 6 inches of coarse carbon-rich material, dry twigs, straw or chopped stalks. This bottom layer acts like a natural ventilation system. It prevents compaction, keeps the pile from going soggy, and allows air to move freely upward. This is where most gardeners go wrong. They start straight on the ground with wet greens, cutting off air circulation before microbes even have a chance. A breathable base is your compost's oxygen lifeline. Step 2. Feeding the microbes with perfect balance. Here's where the real magic happens. Over that base, you'll layer your nitrogen-rich materials, things like fresh grass clippings, vegetable peels, or green leaves, but the key is ratio. Amish composting keeps to a 3-to-1 ratio, 3 parts brown or carbon-rich to 1 part green or nitrogen-rich. That means for every 3 buckets of straw or dry leaves, you'll add 1 bucket of greens. This ratio gives microbes the energy they need to multiply fast without creating ammonia or slimy spots that slow the process. When carbon dominates, decomposition drags. When nitrogen dominates, it smells bad and collapses. The balance is everything. Step 3. The secret starter layer. Now comes the part that, honestly, turns this from good to incredible. Between each layer, Amish gardeners sprinkle a thin coating of Finnish compost or aged manure. Just a light handful across the surface. This acts like a starter culture, introducing billions of active microbes ready to kickstart decomposition immediately. It's the same concept as adding a spoonful of yogurt to warm milk to make more yogurt. The existing life multiplies and spreads. If you don't have finished compost, just mix 1 cup of aged manure into a gallon of water and sprinkle it lightly between layers. That living microbe tea really works wonders. Step 4. The moisture rule that keeps it cooking. Here's a detail that honestly separates fast compost from slow rot. Moisture management. Your pile should never be dripping wet or bone dry. The Amish have a simple rule. It should feel like a wrung-out sponge. When you squeeze a handful, it should hold together but not release water. Too dry and microbes go dormant. Too wet and they suffocate. If it's dry, use a watering can to lightly moisten the layers as you build. For a standard backyard pile about 3 feet tall, use 1 gallon of water for every cubic foot of dry brown material during assembly. If rain's expected, cover the pile loosely with straw or a tarp to prevent it from getting waterlogged. Step 5. Let nature take over. Once your pile is built, base, layers, moisture and all, leave it alone. That's the beauty of this Amish system. Instead of flipping it daily, just check it every few days to monitor heat and moisture. If you stick your hand inside and feel warmth, congratulations, it's working. After 1 to 2 weeks, the centre will reach temperatures around 130 to 150 degrees Fahrenheit as microbes feast. Within 3 to 4 weeks, the pile will start shrinking, the smell will shift from sour to earthy, and the texture will darken. In 6 to 8 weeks, you'll have finished compost, rich, crumbly, and full of life. So, why does this work so well? Well, the genius of Amish composting really lies in how it manages oxygen naturally. Those coarse base layers, they allow for airflow, while the structured greens and browns create these tiny micro pockets where, microbes can really thrive. Instead of having just one big aerobic zone up at the top, the whole pile, it sort of becomes a living engine of decomposition. This even distribution, it actually prevents the 2 biggest compost killers, anaerobic zones and dry cores. It also helps keep the microbial population balanced, which is pretty important. Bacteria get things started, fungi come in to break down woody matter, and invertebrates, like worms, well, they finish the job. You don't even need to turn the pile, because the biology just circulates itself. Now, let's talk about common mistakes that slow compost down. A lot of gardeners, without meaning to, end up sabotaging their compost by overworking it. Turning it too often, well, that actually breaks down the natural heat zones that microbes work so hard to build. It's kind of like resetting the oven every hour while baking a cake. It just never cooks evenly. Now, some folks, they just ignore moisture, and that leads to compost piles that are either dripping wet or, well, just dusty dry. Both of those extremes will stop decomposition cold. The Amish method, though, avoids this by setting up everything right from the start. Structure, moisture, and inoculation. And once all that's in place, the process pretty much runs on autopilot. The reward of true living compost. The end result of this method is really unlike your typical compost. It's darker, finer, and just packed with beneficial organisms. When you add it to soil, it doesn't just feed your plants, it actually restores life underground. The humus you get from proper layering holds water better, aerates the soil, and encourages strong root development. And the best part? It's effortless. You don't need machines, fancy bins, or backbreaking labour, just the right structure and patience. The Amish have shown for centuries that simplicity and observation beat constant tinkering. Bringing the Amish wisdom to your garden. Start small. Try building just one layered pile using this method. Use your yard waste, kitchen scraps, and dry leaves. Keep your ratios right, sprinkle a microbe starter, and control moisture like a pro. In a few weeks, you'll see the transformation. A steaming pile breaking down beautifully without you turning it once. When you spread that rich humus over your beds, you'll feel the difference in your soil's texture and your plant's growth. If you found this guide helpful, make sure to subscribe to Timeless Crops Haven for more practical, science-backed gardening wisdom. Share this video with a friend who's tired of slow, smelly compost and ready to let nature do the work. With this Amish hack, your compost will never be the same again.